Welcome back. This week, the Federal High Court in Abuja struck out treason charges against minors who had been detained since August in connection with the End Bad Governance protest. The trial judge, Obiora Egwatu, struck out the case after the Director of Public Prosecutions of the Federation, DPPF, MD Abubakar, announced the withdrawal of the charges in response to widespread public outrage. The defense lawyers, Femi Falana and Hamza Kyari, did not oppose the application, granting the request. The judge struck out the case in 2 batches, freeing a total of 119 defendants, including dozens of minors who were present in court. The development is a culmination of the public outrage that followed the prosecution of the minors by the police in a regular court and the collapse of at least 2 of the minors and 2 others while waiting to take their pleas during the last proceedings on November 1st. Now, joining us to discuss this, of course, they're right here in the studio with me. I've got a lawyer and legal practitioner, Justice Ojina. Good to have you on the show.
It's my pleasure to join you.
And of course, I have Supriya Membre.
Good night.
Fantastic. He's
Nice
a public affairs analyst, and it's been a while. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, Justice, I'll begin with you. This is a legal matter very quickly. You know I'll do that always. Now, the videos of the minors who were part of the #EndBadGovernance governance protest that surfaced on the internet ridiculed us before the international community in such a way. What are your thoughts on what went wrong and the whole proceedings that you obviously have been following?
Okay, of course, I've been even more than following because I'm one of the lawyers who protested, especially in Lagos State, for the ones that were arrested in Lagos State.
Interesting.
Yes, we approached the authorities and they released them to us. So that's why you observe that most of the protests in Lagos State, yes, there were a number of flashpoints, of course, a few journalists were assaulted, and a number of persons were just injured here and there, but largely it was well organized, well orchestrated, and I must also still give kudos somehow to the rank and file of the Nigerian police, especially the commissioners of police, both during the August protest and the October protest, because it happened that there were 2 commissioners of police. So having said that, I must state the fact that I feel relieved. It's not as if I'm very happy, but I'm very, very relieved that whatever happened on that day that these children or minors were prosecuted didn't culminate in, for example, the deaths in open court of the minors, or even a protracted prosecution that will either lead to, most likely, I think, would have been their acquittal. But I'm very, very happy that it is very, very unfortunate that the persons who, for example, maybe arrested them or held them for that long didn't follow due procedure, and at the end of the day, it showed in open court, and unfortunately in front of cameras, to the point where it got escalated
now,
to the ends of the earth.
Now, that gaffe that got them to be exposed to the world with the court proceedings, where did that mistake come from, and why was that particular scenario playing out knowing fully well the consequence?
For me, I think that solely we must drop it at the door mouth of the Nigerian police, because once people are arrested till they are couriered to the courts, they are usually within the custody of the Nigerian police. And I'm very, very ashamed that these people, even though they were arrested in various parts of the country, Kano in particular, and Kaduna, and some other northern states, especially was hit, they were couriered to the courts. And pending that period, they were solely in custody of the Nigerian police. And it's very, very unfortunate that investigators had the opportunity to actually see that these were minors. They still brought them in front of the whole world. They called their names, which is very, very unlawful and shameful, and they preferred charges against them in an adult court and in so much in an emaciated and practically undignifying state.
I'm not done with you. I'll be back. Membre, very quickly, in as much as we understand that we are trying to deviate the blame away from the minors, because we can't afford to also play out a scenario here where they should also pay for whatever it is they did. They destroyed businesses, they looted shops, and they brought down a lot of government properties. People lost their businesses. Some apparently ran out of business because of their attitude. There is always consequence for every action, knowing where. But should there have been a different approach to punishing these children?
First of all, the most troubling thing from this whole scenario was the fact that they were held for 3 months without prosecution. These are minors. You had lawyers telling us in front of open court that there are no minors among them. And we found out that they were minors. No, these are things that should make heads roll. These are things that in other crimes will cause serious outcry, public outcry. We've seen a lot of things that are now, we are now taking things for granted.
Like normalizing it.
Normalizing a lot of things. You know, minors held for 3 months. Where were they kept? Under what conditions? Even in courts, they were kept on the floor to munch on ground nuts and whatever nuts, and you know, it's so. And Nigeria is a signatory to a lot of charters that guarantee the Child Rights Acts, African Charter, United Nations Charter, from which we even get our own Child Rights Acts. Even the Criminal Code itself and the Penal Code is against children, molesting children emotionally and the rest of that. What would we say if others are doing it to children, and then the government that has the responsibility of protecting children, of minors, would, you know, keep minors in a very harsh condition, bring them to court, not even pretend as though they are properly taken care of, keep them on the floor, and then someone faints. And then we have lawyers come to tell us, oh, no, it is not, they are not minors. Then later they are minors. Or later we'll find out. You know, these are things that make people, citizens, lose confidence in the government. These are things that ought not to happen.
All right.
Normally.
Now, Justice General, now, we understand that from reports, the president obviously was not even aware that some of these proceedings were going on. Now, why is it that principals in government who are supposed to actually be the facelift of government they just continue to make some blunders that are very, you know, nursery, and you begin to ask yourself what exactly is their responsibility. Now, moving forward, how do you think we should be able to cover some of these tracks and at least give us a bit of a reprieve?
For me, I think it's about training, retraining of some of these officers.
But these are supposed professionals who are actually supposed to know their duties. It's just basic duties they're supposed to know.
Fantastic. I like the way you put it. And you know, my fellow here, my friend here, he actually talked about lawyers, but I need to shift that into perspective. Let me tell you what maybe he ought to have helped us with. Yeah. It is the prosecutor in charge of the matter. Because if you say lawyers, sometimes somehow people
we admit that the AGF permitted by law to discontinue the case, and of course.
Yes, definitely. It is actually fantastic, and that's why I have to also commend the AGF in this regard. Of course, this is not the only place where I'm giving him a high five. Also, there are law reforms in place. But with respect to what he said, it is the prosecutor, and it's very, very unfortunate. I don't know, just like he said, I don't know how some people are still holding on to their jobs. This prosecutor opened his mouth and actually said that they are married, these people are graduates, these people have mansions and all. And of course, thank God for the people behind this. We're also laughing at it.
Continued. So
I'm very, very happy with that.
Thank you for staying.